The first one is, what is the public problem and how are we trying to solve it? After all, we are here to solve the public problems and to serve the public good. That's what we analyze, that's what we discuss with the constituents, that's what we discuss in committees, to make sure we solve those problems our public faces and which cannot be solved by the private or constituents privately. Now, where is the problem? We're told that there is 1.5%, or about 7,500 children who have claimed religious exemption. And because of that, there could be in the future some kind of a pandemic, epidemic, some kind of a big issue. The numbers seem really small. And it's been clear, even from the proponent of the bill, that this is not an issue right now. Last year, I'm told there was 1 case of measles. The year before, there was 0. So it's hardly conceivable that we're sitting on top of a difficult issue. Now, the real surprising thing is that while there might be 7,500 people, children who have claimed such exemption, there is a very large number, close to 25,000, who are not compliant. And so the public problem really is of compliance. The public problem is not of some children taking exemption. By a factor of 3 or 4, that is the public problem. And I'm not going to ask the question again of the proponent of the bill, because this has already been asked, that really nothing has been done to address the public problem, which is the more important one, which is why are 25,000 children not complying? It's important and it's incumbent upon us to ask the right questions. Now, we have heard that really the issue is not of the current status of 30,000 kids in all, of which 25,000 or so are not complying and 7,000 have claimed exemption. It is about the rate at which the younger cohorts are claiming that exemption. Well, I think the question is a good question, and we need to, again, rigorously investigate it. And when we look at it, it looks like there is about 500 to 800 children claiming it every year. And so if we basically look forward 5 or 10 years, we'll have another 5,000 children claiming religious exemption, maybe 8,000. So then once again I ask the question, where is the public problem? There will be, in few years, if there is a corresponding growth in the compliance issue, only 10,000 children who would have religious exemptions. So once again, the religious exemption does not pose the trajectory of the religious exemption does not pose an issue over the next 5 to 10 years. So it's very clear that there exists no public problem either right now or in the trajectory which is being suggested or which we can see over the next 5 to 10 years. Then why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? If there is not a problem now or in the next 5 years, as the numbers suggest, why are we doing this? And what is the best way for us to even be what's being repeated over and over again, proactive? How do we be proactive? Because I come to this chamber with respect for all 151 of us, and if there is so many who are saying, well, this is a problem and we need to be proactive about it, then how do we get proactive about this public problem? It's very clear that this 8,000 cohort is not going to get vaccinated because we just pass a law. They have strong beliefs or other reasons for which they're not doing it. And nothing we do is going to change that substantively. So really, we're not going to solve the problem even if we pass a law with that cohort. So what I want to prove here, or what I want to show here, is that the public problem we're talking about does not seem to have any substantive effect or substantive basis or now or in the next 5 to 10 years. And the measures which we are suggesting in this bill will not address the problem which does exist. The problem which exists is of compliance. The problem which exists is to find out why these 8,000 children and their parents do not want to vaccinate their kids. And the problem which exists is, are the other concerns being raised, which is that the frequency as well as the total number of vaccinations being mandated has grown at an unacceptable rate. Those are the problems. Those are not being addressed. We are singling out those with religious exemption and focusing on that being the public problem.